Split the Dark led to, I spent a little bit of time in two other bands that were both important because each band had record deals, guys. 1988 was a band called Witness that had been signed to Arista. Debbie Davis was the singer. Charlie Brusco was the manager. And Charlie, he got us on some dates with Leonard Skinner, and we did a few club shows. The single never really took off, and the band kind of ran out of steam pretty fast. I immediately was able to join this band out of Memphis called the Delta Rebels. They were on Polydor. Pivotal experience for two reasons. One, it was the first time someone said, hey man, you have to start writing songs. You can't just be a hotshot guitar player. You need to start writing. So I started bringing in riffs and arrangements and chords to the singer of that band, R.T. Scott. Second big event was I tagged along with R.T. one time to a meeting with his manager to go meet this music attorney, Fred Davis. Well, Fred Davis just happens to be the son of Clive Davis, the legendary mogul. And I just remember sitting in the lobby of that hotel listening to these guys talk. And guys, I'm 22 and, leather jacket and or maybe some biker boots or whatever. And I just remember thinking, man, this guy knows more about the business than anyone I've ever been in the same room with.
just to paint the picture a little bit, Fred Davis, who was also a first attorney that I dealt with in shopping and signing bands, Fred is impeccably dressed. He's a three-piece suit. No, if he's playing handball, this guy's in a three-piece suit, right? So he is the epitome of when you would picture a high-powered music attorney if out of general casting, right? It's
I don't want to say I was starstruck, but I knew I was in the presence of some other level of knowledge and understanding that I'd ever been around. So I just had the gumption at the end of the meeting, because I didn't open my mouth in the meeting. I was just there. And I just had the wherewithal to say, hey, Fred, would you mind if I got your phone number? He said, of course, here's my number. And I just wrote it down in my little, I think I had a day runner. Yeah. You remember those things?
Yeah, this is pre-cell phone. So
yeah, totally pre-cell phone. So the Delta Rebels was awesome. It was a rough and tumble band, guys. It was like Skinner meets AC/DC, fronted by David Allan Coe, if you can fathom that. And that situation ran out of gas.
Darkness, it surrounds me. Walking down the street, I can't understand the feeling coming over me. Something strange is happening. There's nothing I can do. What the reason this is going on is all because of you. Howling at the moon. Still, I'm howling at the moon.
I was still living in Birmingham, but I just went to that manager from Split the Dark, Conrad, one day, and I said, hey, man, I've been in two bands with deals, and I just feel like if those guys can get record deals, I can get one. I'd like to find a singer and put a band together. I've started writing some songs, And Conrad famously said, I'm in. I'm in. Whatever you need, let's figure it out. So he had a couple other friends in the business. We wound up working with a singer that happened to come our way through some people here in Nashville, ironically. I'm just working hard. I didn't put a lot of thought into, well, is this the perfect guy? I just he looks great. He's easy to get along with. And we wrote like 6 songs in a week. And I'm like, great. This is going to be awesome. And they sounded like, he was a little more 80s rock influence, with my classic rock. Because I was still way into Deep Purple and, Aerosmith and things like that. And he was paying attention to Whitesnake and some of the stuff that was on the radio. But I just knew we were making progress. So we made some demos. And then Conrad goes, what do we do now? And I said, well, I've got the phone number of this guy, Fred Davis. So to condense the story, we called Fred. He took my call. I was shocked. I said, I don't know if you remember me. He goes, I totally remember you, Damon. Peabody Hotel, Memphis, Tennessee, with the Delta Rebels. I said, yeah. He goes, what are you doing? I said, I've got a band. Got some songs. Or I said, I've got some songs. I didn't have a band yet.
Right.
He goes, send me the tape. I sent him the tape. He calls back 2 days later. I FedExed him the tape. Important distinction. He called me back 2 days later. He says, man, there's some really good songs on here. I remember he said, well done. I'm impressed. He said, this is what I want you to do. You need to get a drummer and a bass player. You need to take a photo. I want you to make 20 copies of this cassette with the names written on there or typed on there, and on the spine, I want you to put the name of the band, which we were called Child, with a Y. I know you love that, Kevin. Child, Birmingham, Alabama. And I was like, well, great, man, I'll do all that. I said, do you really want to put Birmingham? Don't we want to put, New York or L.A.? He said, no. Nobody's from Birmingham, Alabama. That's going to get people's attention right out of the gate. I was like, okay. So Fred Davis, in all of his experience and relationships, man, he made it happen. So all of a sudden, all these labels were interested. The songs were good. They wanted to see the band.
Have I heard any of these songs?
You have not.
All right, well,
I'll play.
you're
I'll
gonna
play
have
them
to
for
me
you
something.
sometime. Immediately, the feedback was one of two things. The A&R people would say, "I'm not sure about the singer," or they would say, "I don't like the singer, the sound of his voice." And we were showcasing.
Yeah.
They would have those cattle call showcase. I know that we did one in Atlanta, and I forget what it was called, but it was like a South by Southwest kind of thing, where you would play at the Cotton Club,
Right.
and there'd be 10 labels there. They'd already heard the tape. They're coming to see the band. And that's where we started getting this feedback. Very quickly, I was like, well, this is not happening. And I even thought about just going back to playing covers in the bars and,
Yeah.
letting the singer
Yeah.
go back
You
to
took
Nashville.
you took your shot. And
Yeah, I
it
took
didn't
my
work.
shot. And we did one final showcase, and the guy from Virgin Records came in. His name was Aaron Jacobus. Aaron wound up being really impressed, and he immediately said to Conrad and I, he said, it's the wrong singer. He goes, but Damon's a star. Those are his words, not mine.
And I'll interject to back Damon up here. I know Aaron. I haven't talked to him in years, but Aaron came out to see some of the first bands that I was getting ready to sign, and he's a guy that knows talent, knows music. He's really into it, and he's one of the few guys that would be able to say, "Listen, that guy's a star. This works, but that's not the thing." Instead of just generally passing.
Right.
Totally, man. And I only came to understand later all the things that Aaron had been a part of putting together.
Right.
He helped the Black Crowes cut their
Right.
first demos. He got Soundgarden from Sub Pop onto
A&M.
A&M, thank you. I think he signed Extreme to their first record, all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
man. So Aaron said, let's help Damon find a singer. He goes, I know lots of singers. LA's full of them. So, man, he started sending tapes, and we started trying out other guys. And he sent me a tape that I loved. I flew to LA and met the singer who I loved. He was like Axl Rose, which, of course, we were all obsessed with Appetite for Destruction. That had changed everyone's life, at that point. It was
So this is
edgier.
probably 89, 90, sometime
This
around
was
there.
90, end of 90, early 91. And much like with the other singer, I just jumped right in with this guy. I'm like, let's go. Same thing. He and I wrote 6 or 8 songs in 2 weeks. I had a really cool drummer and bass player by this point, so we kept working. And
Only now Nirvana's hit, and
Oh.
or at least grunge is starting.
Nirvana was about to drop that record.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
91.
Yeah.
Right?
Was it
Yeah.
91 or
Yeah.
92, somewhere in there?
I think it was 90. Or
I think you're right. I think it was 91.
Late 91.
But, there were some good songs. They weren't great. I think instinctually I knew they weren't amazing, but we were having fun. We were writing a
Yeah.
lot, and this guy had basically moved to Birmingham, and we were like a gang, and it was feeling great. Aaron was not convinced about the songs.
So you haven't signed anything yet with with Virgin, it
We
was
just- we
just
had
like
signed-
development.
We had signed a development deal.
Okay.
Because they were putting up some money for the
For the
demos.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so Aaron comes to Birmingham to check on our progress. He wanted to see us play live. We told him we'd written some new songs that we were going to go in and record. He comes to the club. We're doing one of those Wednesday through Saturday residencies,
yeah.
and 4 sets a night. So to give the singer a break, I would sing a few cover songs. And I remember on that night, the 3 songs I covered, I played acoustic. I played She Talks to Angels by the Crows, Melissa by the Allman Brothers, and then I sang Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy with the band, electric.
Stay tuned later for more on that story.
And we took a break, and I was putting my guitar in the little stand, and Aaron came over, and he looked kind of not just perplexed, he almost looked frustrated. He goes, "Hey, man, you never told me that you could sing."
I love that.
And I could tell by the look on his face what he was thinking. And I just went, "Oh, no, no way, bro." I said, "Look, I don't want to sing. It's my job to be Jimmy Page and Joe Perry. It's your job to help me find Robert Plant or Steven Tyler." He said, "No way, bro." He goes, "Look, I'm running out of money. You're running out of time. I'm here. We're going in the studio tomorrow anyway. I want you to get behind the mic and sing some of these songs." And if it hadn't have been for my bass player, Glenn Maxey, kind of pulling me off to the side, and he goes, "You need to do this." If he hadn't have said it to me, I would have just shut it down completely. He goes, "You need to do this, man." He goes, "You're a good singer, and you're different." And Aaron said that. He goes, "You're different. You don't have any vocal influences. You just sang," because I didn't. You just
Yeah,
sang,
well, yeah, and you
no
hadn't been
training,
singing.
no-
You've been
yeah. I was
You've been
just-
playing
I was
and
home
not
playing
singing,
guitar
so-
and writing songs. Right,
Yeah.
right. So I took it on board, and that's when I really started co-writing aggressively, because I knew instinctually, like, all right, if we got a record deal, I don't have the luxury of time to develop over 3 or 4 years of writing. We already had a band put together. We had some infrastructure, man. So it was a blessing for me to have embraced the co-write thing so much, because that's how I ultimately met Marty Fredrickson, who was a major, major force in my life, in the life of Brother Kane. And I would argue that that first record would have never happened without Marty.